Hey everybody, it's Nick from Hotspawn, and I am joined here by Canadian All-Star Jojopyun, back on home turf. We'll start with that, which is I've had a conversation with Dylan Falco in which he brought up that actually Europe is sending more Canadian representatives than NA is, because Dylan's from Canada, and so are you, and the only Canadian coming from North America is Masu. Right? Yeah, exactly.
That is crazy.
So, I also just had a conversation with Myrwn in which he said, like, because First Nat was in Korea, you just, you didn't try. But now that MSI was in Canada, you locked in, you needed to get back home, get back to living in an igloo, riding a moose, all the Canadian stuff.
Exactly.
So what does it mean to be back home for MSI? We'll start with that.
I mean, I would say for sure, Myrwn is right, I think.
Yeah, keep going. You're good.
I think for sure, last place we didn't really care too much because it was in Korea. Even the past years, I didn't really care too much because it was never in Canada. And then I saw MSI was in Vancouver, so I had to lock in. The whole team had to lock in so we could be here, and that's what we did. I'm very grateful to be here, of course, and I can't wait to get the home buff, the NA buff. I don't know how it'll work, if it'll only be me getting the buff or the whole team since you're European, right? But for sure, I'm going to be getting the buff, so I mean, I'm just honored and grateful to be here.
Yeah, I feel like at least El Yoya gets it in the 2v2, like it's at least like a radius of Canadian buff. Awesome. So the last time that LoL Esports came to Canada was 2017 Spring Finals for the LCS.
Wow.
The famous Jensen Chrono Break, if you know that play, goes in on Echo with Echo Ult and the Zhonya's, doesn't pop either, dies, game over. So it's been 8 years since then. What were you doing back in 2017 in regards to League of Legends? And what would 2017 you say if he saw you now? Like, what has that journey been like?
2017, I think I was in grade 7 or 6.
Yep.
Wait, I would say 2019 I would say I was in grade 7. I was playing some League then. I wasn't playing too much. I don't think Fortnite came out yet, so I think I was just I was probably playing League as my main game, maybe a bit of Call of Duty. I don't remember too much, to be honest. It's been a while, but I was still in school, still in middle school. It was some good times for sure. And I don't even know what I'd say to myself right now. I don't even know if I'd be surprised, to be honest, because I kind of felt like I had potential to be good in this game, even though I never fully took it serious until I was maybe in grade 9, grade 10.
Sure.
So I wouldn't be too surprised, I feel like,
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, and like, certainly with your past with Fortnite, you're clearly just cracked at video games, so that works out for you. Awesome. So I know that you guys have been in Canada for about 2 days. You came through from Toronto. I've been speaking with Myrwn about it.
Yeah.
He said he got to catch like a couple of the games. Have you managed to catch some of the games that have been happening during playing stage?
Yeah, just right before these interviews, while we had some downtime, I was actually watching the last game of G2 versus BLG, the Veigar game. The G2 versus
Poppy Veigar.
The Poppy Veigar, that was a combo. It was pretty smart, and versus the G2 Furia, I was on the plane, so I didn't get to watch it live. I did see some of the games after, and it was really close. We went to Game 5, which was crazy. So I would say Furia is also a pretty good team. So I did catch up, but I didn't have enough time to really analyze and dig into the games. But I just saw it from just how did the games go kind of perspective.
Sure. So there's been a lot of discussion from the region that you deserted about the new format. And that is obviously, at least for MSI, winner of LTA Seoul goes, winner of LTA North goes, and there is no interaction between them. There's been a lot of sort of community discussion about that and the LCK format, where essentially the top
no finals, right?
Yeah, there's no finals in LCK.
Weird.
You don't actually have a champion for LCK Cup really. And then for NA, we're supposed to be one conference, but LTA North, LTA Seoul, it's just top one from each. Do you have any thoughts on these like new formats coming into this?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's pretty weird, of course. I don't know exactly the details of how it goes. I think the LCK one is, of course, weird that there's no finals, so there's no hype, and there should always be a finals, right? So it doesn't make sense in a competition there's no finals.
There's no cup to raise in the LCK Cup.
Yeah, exactly. There's no cup to raise, so you don't feel that you really won. And for the LTA North and the LTA South, I mean, of course, NA loses a spot at International, which sucks a lot because I think NA, of course, has multiple good teams, not only one, so it does definitely feel bad for NA. I don't exactly know how the format works or the solution, but I would say, of course, NA should get another spot. At the same time, I think Brazil should also get a spot, so I don't know how many spots they need or how to really problem solve it, but I would say it does suck for pretty much everyone.
Yeah, one of the things that I've heard proposed, sort of from a lot of places, is expand MSI to 12 teams, give another slot to LCK, give a flex slot between LTA North and LTA Seoul where the teams have to play off for it. Does that seem better to you?
Yeah, for sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think that's a good idea.
So I was chatting with Myrwn, who obviously he can't share the deets, but he's told me he's cooking up some spicy picks. And on the topic of the Canadian home buff, so how many of the Vancouver Olympic skins are you specifically prepping for this event? Toboggan Corky, Whistler and Nivea, I think it is.
There's a Whistler and Nivea?
I think so. It's like
sure.
the weird multicolored.
I gave me an idea. I never thought about it. Yeah. I mean, I think if I remember, if I pick a champion and I see an Olympic theme, I'll probably wear it because I never did think about it. But I'm in Vancouver right now, in Canada, so it does make sense. After,
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of
after representing
buff there.
somehow,
Hell yeah. All right, next questions are just totally goofy, totally for fun, nothing to do with pro play. Number one is, have you seen Arcane?
No.
Okay, but you get the idea. It's an animated show,
Yeah.
explores League's characters.
Yeah.
If Riot came to you and was like, Jojo, we're out of ideas, we need this next season, and we need you to decide which champion is like the center focus, or which region of the world is the center focus. What's your like dream show? And since you haven't watched Arcane, who would the show have to be about to get you to watch?
That's hard. I would say.
We're hitting you with the hard-hitting questions about lore here. I know.
I feel like Yasuo's pretty cool lore. I mean, I don't really know his lore, but I feel like just looking at the character and everything, I feel like he's been through a lot for sure.
Oh yeah.
So maybe Yasuo for sure would be a good character. Yeah, I think if I had to choose, it would be him.
Awesome. Next question is kind of similar. We've got these themed seasons that Riot is doing where they remake Summoner's Rift. We get a new map skin. There's a bunch of champion skins that come out. They've even been doing like mini games and comics and stuff. And they've said that, well, for now we're doing like Noxus, Ionia, parts of the world. They've said it could that eventually it will be skin lines, like maybe Project, High Noon, Star Guardian, whatever. If you could pick the theme for a season and got to like remake Summoner's Rift, give it a new skin, what's the JoJo season? What would the JoJo season look like?
So you're saying like if I got to choose between High Noon and all those, or if I got to make my own?
Yeah, or like you can decide on like your favorite region in the world. You can decide on a skin line you like. But what's an aesthetic? What's a makeover to Summoner's Rift and like a theme for a season that you would really dig?
I would say for sure High Noon. I think High Noon's pretty cool, and every single champion that I see with High Noon, it looks very nice. Like you have High Noon, Yasuo is very iconic. The Senna's pretty nice. High Noon Lucian is very nice.
High Noon Senna's so sick.
Yeah, I would say all the High Noon skins are definitely always nice. I would say if there's a High Noon Summoner's Rift, that'd be pretty fun for sure.
Yeah. High Noon Summoners. Plus, you're a mid laner. Maybe we get like the clock tower in mid lane. You and the mid laner have to do a quick draw before the match or whatever.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay, sweet. So now coming back to MSI, coming back to the lessons sport and stuff, like pro play and competition or whatever. When you're looking at the rest of the teams here, is there anybody that you're really excited at the prospect of facing, that you really want to test yourself against, or is there just somebody that you just do you want to play FlyQuest and put an A in our place? Like, what's the vibe? Who's the ideal matchup?
I mean, for sure, I haven't scrimmed against LCK teams yet. I did scrim against LPL teams. So I would really want to verse LPL teams on stage. Of course, they're very good.
Yep.
I do think that we can beat them. I do think that we're in a stage right now where we can beat any team if we show up on stage. But for sure, I want to verse Faker and Chovy and just try learning as much as possible from them. I already versed Shanks and Knights, and they're very good players, and I've been learning a lot from them too. Of course, if we verse FlyQuest, I looked at the bracket. I don't think we're going to verse FlyQuest. Thank God for them.
Yeah.
But if we did verse FlyQuest, of course, that'd be really fun too. I get to verse Inspired again. And I don't know, would it be NA taking down NA? I don't know how it would work, but it would be very iconic if we
All right. So, you're talking about how far FlyQuest is going to make it. So now that leads perfectly into my next question, which is, obviously, I was going to get you to rank the Canadians. So you at top, obviously. Out of the next two, which is Dylan Falco and Masu, who's going farther? Who's making farther into this event? Is it G2 or FlyQuest?
I mean,
and to clarify, they're both from Toronto. So like,
Dylan Falco's from Toronto.
Yeah. So they're both from out east. There's no like power differential therein in the provinces. It's not like Masu's not from Alberta or something that would disqualify him.
I mean, I would say I have to support my NA team, even though Dylan Falco is NA. Just the team is NA, FlyQuest is an NA team, so I have to support them, so I'll go with Masu for sure.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time, Jojo.
I appreciate it.
And for everybody at home who's not used to the Canadian slang, hopefully MKOI is here to go for a rip, bud. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Cheers.